Yo, what's going on YouTube? Good Grant back here with another video, and in this one I got an updated build guide for you guys. What you're seeing on screen right now is the most recent world boss that I've done. If you want to see the rest of this clip or you want to see any of the other depictions of what my class's capabilities are, go ahead and check out my video and don't forget to subscribe, as I'll be posting continuous updates on what my build is able to do and what I'm actually able to achieve in the game. Since my last build guide, I've went ahead and changed a few things around, traded a skill for another one, and I went ahead and got quite a bit of level grinding done, so my Paragon board's upgraded quite a bit, as well as I've changed a few pieces of gear out that massively have changed the synergies in my build. So I want to go ahead and update you guys and also show you guys the Paragon board, as my previous video didn't even touch on that really at all. So getting into the video, I want to go ahead and mention something that I failed to mention in my last video, which is I do use the inner sight specialization, as this gives me infinite energy for 4 seconds. And this is really good as I use twisting blades. That's my core, and infinite twisting blades is the main concept of my build, coupled with infinite poison imbue. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get straight into the skill tree and just let you guys glance over this. I went in depth with it in my last video, so I'm not going to do that as much in this video. You can refer to that one or just copy it as you see fit, as there's not too much about this that isn't self-explanatory. I will mention I did have dash previously as a movement skill, and I was using it to daze enemies, and this was useful, but I didn't really think it was that useful, so I traded it out for shadow imbuement and went with the consuming shadows passive, as this gives me even more energy regeneration, which again helps me do the infinite twisting blades, as I said. Moving on here, I stated this in the last video, but I did trade Dark Shroud at some point for Shadow Clone. Dark Shroud was really my main survivability up until about level 60. Since then, I've respec'd my build for quite a bit of survivability, that being health and armor, but I definitely feel like once you're in the in-game, you're probably not going to need Dark Shroud as much. I've seen people use it, and to each their own, but I personally don't. The rest of this is the same, so moving on to Paragon board, I'm going to kind of fly through this because I guess I could realistically spend hours on this. I'm going to go over my glyphs and a few of the rare nodes, but you guys can copy this as you see fit. I wouldn't necessarily copy it exactly, as each person's going to need to build and spec out for different things based on their gear and playstyle, but this is how I go ahead and spec it out. Picking up these 2 rare nodes right here, going up and grabbing my glyph right here. As you can see, I have infusion, as again my main build is centered around imbuement. Picking up these 2 rare nodes right here, and moving on to my first board, I have the Eldritch Bounty legendary node board, as again more imbuement damage. Right down here we have even more imbuement damage plus non-physical damage, which again is my poison damage. Even more imbuement damage when you look at it that way. Picking up this rare node right here for survivability. Going right up here, as you can see, this is going to give me cooldown reduction on my imbuement skills. That's massive, plus another 20% non-physical damage. That again is even more imbuement skill damage. Moving up here and picking up this node right here for not only the survivability from the potion healing, but the 10 dex, which contributes to the 7.9 cutthroat skill damage from my glyph right here, closer. Now cutthroat skill damage is my twisting blade skill, as it's a cutthroat skill. This is my main damage coupled with the poison imbuement, so this is really useful for me. That's why I chose closer, this glyph socket. Moving up right here to this rare node, this is even more imbuable skill damage, and the 10 dex again contributes to that 7.9 cutthroat damage. Our third board here, and up to where we're progressed as of right now, is going to be the No Witnesses legendary node. This is going to give me outright 10% damage, and my ultimate skills 30% increased damage. This is good as I switched over recently to Shadow Clone and am looking for more damage outright, so this is going to give me that. Right here we have a 50% increase to healthy enemies. This is massive, as well as that 15% critical strike damage. Again, really useful right there on that rare node. Going right up over here, we have the knowledge rare node, another 20% damage increase. I would recommend picking up any of these 20% increased damage nodes, as they are very useful and will scale your build up massively. Right up here we have our glyph. I picked the Bane glyph here, as again my build is centered around poison damage, so this is kind of, you know, self-explanatory. Right up here, pretty much bringing us to where we've maxed out at this point. Another survivability node here, and you can see going up we just pick up more survivability, and I'm progressing towards my next board. With that being said, that ends off the Paragon board, and let's look at my items. Now, getting into the weapons here, I believe I've changed these up a little bit. I haven't changed the aspect on most of these items. If anything, the substats will have changed, so you can go ahead and reference those at your own discretion. As I said in my previous video, I don't want to get into these too in-depth, as they're pretty self-explanatory. Moving on here, we have changed out our rings to basically just give us more crit strike damage and chance. These rings were pretty much god rolls and have almost the perfect stat rolls on them, not only for my build, but just min-max wise. You'll see here I have changed out this aspect from my previous one, and I'll get into that later, but glancing at the substats here, you can see they're really broken, almost max rolls on everything. I haven't changed my amulet out in a long time, as I just can't get one that's better and haven't seen a reason to change it out. I have changed out my helm recently, and as I stated in the skills section of this video, I changed dash out for shadow imbuement, so I went ahead and changed my helm out to grant me the 3 ranks of shadow imbuement. Also, I grabbed the quick cooldown reduction and the maximum life, so that way I have more survivability. My chest piece, I'm not sure if this has changed. I did roll that perfect 11.3 damage stat, so when I got this, I instantly put it on. I know the aspect hasn't changed on this, but going back to my helm here, I did change the aspect on this. It was previously, when you damage an elite enemy, it grants you a barrier. I don't need a barrier anymore. As we can see, moving on past the gauntlets here, which I did change to reflect the crit strike chance, overpower damage, and that insane 26 to all stats. The aspect on that has not changed, but what I was getting at is I did roll temerity. And when I got temerity, I was really hesitant to put it on, as it wasn't the perfect roll of temerity. You can see I got it at level 78, so that was really early in my playthrough to get it. But my previous pants were plus 50 intelligence, plus 50 willpower, and plus 50 dex. They also had a 17 all stats roll on them. That wasn't perfect, but it was pretty good. Better than this one. My point there is that all those different stats were giving me massive power increases. So I was really hesitant to trade out my attack power for survivability. But looping back to the ring that I said I would mention earlier, you can see I have 23% increased damage while you have a barrier active, and with temerity I will always have a barrier active. That's what I was getting at, and why I was saying I don't need the when you damage an elite enemy it grants you a barrier anymore, because I always have barriers with temerity. Moving on here, I did change my boots up. The aspect is the same on them, but you can see here I got a pretty nutty roll on willpower, intelligence, and I mean the 15 all stats is decent. I believe my bow is the same as it was before, and that's pretty self-explanatory. While I have this bow, it's pretty overpowered. With all that being said, I think that wraps up my build. I'm going to show you guys a few other things here really quick. I'm going to go ahead and show you my stats page, and you can see what I'm working with here, as everything that I've showed you so far isn't the entire summary of my build. This will go ahead and give you everything that you need to know in regards to that. I will mention, if you want to see any video of my current build and what it's actually capable of, I have plenty of videos uploaded on my channel, and I recommend going ahead and checking those out and subscribing if you guys are interested in any of that content and my progression in the future. Since I believe I've went ahead and covered everything in this video that you guys need to know as of right now, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up there. I want to thank you guys for watching and supporting me how you have. My channel's been blowing up as of recently, and I want to let you guys know that I appreciate that so much. The amount of subscribers, likes, comments, and views I've been getting on my videos is absolutely unreal. You guys are insane, and all the comments you guys have been dropping, I've been struggling to keep up with them, but somehow I've managed to do so. My philosophy is to help anybody that I can, and so with that being said, if you guys like the videos or you need any type of advice, go ahead and subscribe and leave a thumbs up on the video. Drop any comments you may have down in the comment section, leaving any feedback or asking any questions you might have. I'll get back to them when I can and give you the advice you need. And thanks for watching. Peace out.